I say A minus. It's not an A. You can't give him an A. I mean, you needed to get an A would have been 5 out of 6. I think A plus would have been 2 sweeps, which is pretty rare. But I'll give you an A minus for the homestand. I mean, if you wanted to go B plus, I don't think I could argue with you. But anything lower than that, I think, would be, pretty harsh. They did what they needed to do, right? They came out, they won both series, they ended some of the frustration of what had gone on the road trip, which obviously was subpar. And you come home, you beat an A's team that's been very pesky, certainly to you this year. They just match up well against you. And then you beat the Padres, who are probably a better team, but you've matched up incredibly well against them this year. Yeah. So, I guess I would say that's an A minus homestand. Like, they got done exactly what you wanted to see them get done.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with that. Your better players largely performed. Cal got to 50 home runs, broke that record at home. Really, the biggest struggle bus, maybe individually, was Luis, with that 5 spot in the first inning, and then he battled to keep you in that game where you claw and scratch and come all the way back. So, before the homestand, these 6 games, I just said flat out, win both. Win both series. Just find a way to win both series. If you go 4-2 at home, against a red-hot San Diego team that was leading the NL West coming in, and a very pesky Oakland,
right,
very
A's
pesky,
team,
very pesky Vegas team that just plays you and matches up with you pretty well. So, find a way to win both series. They did that day off today. I don't know how that's not a positive.
Yeah, I think you're right. So a couple of things that kind of jumped out that were either developments or observations or things that I thought were relevant here during this homestand. One, getting Victor Robles back is awesome. I know he's going to end up having to miss a week or so because of the suspension, and I still think what he did is completely deserving of a long suspension. You can't do that. But, man, just having him on the roster, not even just in the game. I love seeing him in the game, and he is, was it Angie? Somebody described him to me the other day as a chaos agent, and I think that's a wonderful way of looking at him. He's a chaos agent. Like, you put him onto the roster, into the game, and he creates a level of chaos on the base paths, at the plate, in right field, all the things he does. He also just fixes the roster. And without him in there, the roster has a hole, which is another right-handed bat who can kind of do some of the things he does. Dylan Moore was supposed to fill that role. Obviously, he was not. Robles fills that role. And once you put him onto the roster, it really does change the way the whole roster functions.
Yeah, chaos agent's a nicer way of saying a lot, which is what I say. And he's not quite an instigator like that. What was that guy's name?
Caballero.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. He's not like that. Agent of chaos. Let's do it. Second observation. I liked seeing Emerson Hancock up in the 9th inning yesterday. He didn't end up coming in, right? And hopefully he ends up fixing or maybe supplementing some of the issues you've got in the pen. I think it's relevant that he was warming up in the 9th, not earlier. He did not come in a 2-run game to get his first save. That would have been surprising, and I don't think that would have been the best way to introduce him necessarily to relievers, being a reliever.
Yeah.
But if they had scored there in the 8th, he's probably coming in at least a key spot, up 3 or 4 to finish off that game. Oh. So I loved seeing him out there, and I think that's a really positive sign for how it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of an indicator that this is not just going to be the Vargas role and the kind of the low leverage. He's going to come in, and he should. And I think the question I'll have is, and how was he Lyle down in Tacoma overall with command? Right, because I think of those guys, and yes, you want swing and miss, and obviously you want strikeouts and outs. How was he command-wise? Because
as a reliever or throughout his entire stretch there?
Well, yeah, I mean, as a reliever, what was it, 2 or 3 opportunities is all? I mean, there were not many of those. But when you think of Emerson Hancock, do you think command of the baseball?
In his couple of outings, he was pretty sharp. That last one, he was really sharp.
Really sharp, yeah. Really sharp. So that's what and when it happens, and it's going to be soon and on this road trip and in a long road trip again in 3 different cities. You're gonna see him a couple times, and that's kind of the tell for me is, can he really command? Because the 99 plays and his other stuff plays, and they need him, man.
Yeah.
But can we also give a little shout out to Bazardo once?
Well, that was my next one, Brock. My next observation. Eduard Bazardo, leverage arm.
Yes.
That's what we saw yesterday. I mean, so I went to the game yesterday. 7th inning, brash. 8th inning, Bazardo against the heart of the order. Or it wasn't 1, 2, 3.
Well, yeah, but you gave Brash 1, 2, 3, right?
Right.
You wanted him to have Tatis and Machado in the top of the order.
Right, but 4, 5, 6 for that lineup is no joke, right? I mean, like, that sounds like Eduard Bazardo leverage arm. He's still not getting the lights out treatment, and Brash did in the 7th.
Yeah.
But Eduard Bazardo leverage arm, I think we're starting to see that at the very least as something to try here down the stretch. And I think that they can still make some attempts to try some new things. Here's my thing. I think the Mariners are going to make the playoffs. I don't know whether it's going to be win the West or win the wild card or whatever the case is going to be. I just don't know. I think that they're going to make the playoffs. And because of that, I think it's all going to come down to who's hot and how you're playing down the stretch and once you get into October. So if that's the case, yeah, I do want to throw Eduard Bazardo into some leverage spots and see if it works because he's been really effective this year.
51 times out. Is that what we said yesterday? I mean,
yeah.
Just an absolute glue guy. It's hard to think, as crazy as it is early in the year, some struggles, and my gosh, he's been up and down. And you know, we've always seen this organization find that Steckenrider, find that Seabold, find that guy going into a year that you just did not think was capable of producing the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I got to point at Mr. Bazardo. Nice to have Brash back. Mooney's had a career year. He's an all-star. I'm not saying he's the best in the bullpen, but it really is hard to fathom.
Yep.
Many of these wins and series wins and rubber match wins without Bazardo's role.
A guy that last year we thought was the human white flag.
That's right.
I mean, to see him kind of get to where he's been, pretty cool. The last big observation for me, if Eugenio is truly hot, this lineup gets pretty insane in a hurry, right? I mean, 2 3-run shots in the last 2 days, an OPS over 1,000 in his last 8 games. He yesterday tied his career high in ribbies.
I mean, you got to have a plan against him. You never know how he's going to pitch.
Oh, hold on, that was
so
about
many
Darvish.
pitch, but like I say, always ready for something in the middle of the play and looking for a mistake.
All right, so whatever. That's him talking about Darvish, but you get the idea. Eugenio was there, and he had a hot day, and he hit the second 3-run shot in as many days, and he won them the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How was the vibe?
Very, very good. Again, A-, I would say yesterday. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's quite the vibe during the day as you get at night.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. And there were a lot of kids there, which was awesome. And, you know, the place was really into it. I was impressed with how into it all the fans were. But I don't know that you got the, like, stadium rocking thing that you tend to get at night. But it was a pretty good environment there yesterday.